Welcome to the High-Tech Investments News Report for Week 4. The news report covers some of the many investments projects High-Tech Investments is currently involved in so you can follow our progress. We hope you will enjoy this news feed and look forward to your comments and remarks.
Hi, Bo here, and welcome back to this week's news report. We are now 4 weeks in of 2024. That obviously means we are getting close to an entire month now of January. We still have a few trading days left. We still have a few days left on some of our other investment portfolio also. So it is not time for the full month, but we are going to look at all our investments as usual. Some of them have been a bit lame the past weeks. That means basically low profits. Last week, all of them were down. This week, some are still in limbo. Other ones are actually doing extremely well and new all-time highs. And then we're also going to have a closer look at some of the Ftmo trading to see if you can be as happy as these two traders in here. The graph behind them is actually the Ftmo signal account that we believe will be excellent for the Ftmo trading. Going to show you exactly the percentage of drawdowns in here because it keeps very well within the specific limits that Ftmo and other proprietary traders are offering. So definitely you don't want to miss this one. But let's start off with yield notes, and this is the latest email coming out of yield notes. So basically the latest newsletter in here. And again, it mentions thank you for continued patience as we recover our network and realize our vision of Yield Notes Pro. Don't forget we have almost finished January now, and Yield Notes has still mentioned to us that they should be ready by end of first quarter. So that means end of either February or March, most probably March. As it goes, we don't really see much of a difference in here. But they also mention here that, as you might know, we explore every venue and put all the puzzle pieces in place for a swift network recovery, and then we continuously disband and look for every venue possible to bring value back to our network. So again, obviously very, very good, but of course it's not all good news. Again, the chain analysis lawsuit in here that was announced back in 2023. There was an issue, and that regarding the lawsuit in here, and as you can see, it has also been filed now, finally, so through the state of New York. I don't think that has any influence on what is to come here in the first quarter, so this will basically run side by side from what I can see here. And then on top of this, again, there's another detail in here, so once you look for the full filing, you are jumped to another link, and within that link you can actually download the complaint and the official document. We did, however, try that. It didn't really work for us, so we're not exactly sure if it's our security that won't let us download this, but we simply couldn't make that happen at the time. Also in the newsletter, there's a third-party announcement. So again, in here, one of the popular masternode hosting apps, Ftmo, is back and promise simplified masternode hosting and management. There's also a link in here where you can download and start the masternoding. We haven't really had a closer look at this particular one yet, but on their website it looks something like this, where some of the listed coins are their own. So the Flints in here, you can see the Sapphire coin, Byra coin also here, and the PNY down here, which is normally some of the ones that we are discussing. Other ones also, as the 777 is in here, so very well known from iHost MN back then. Now let's go and have a closer look at the Decenomy coin, and the best one to look at is actually the Sapphire coin in here. Previously, at the end of 2023, things were looking up for the coin itself. Since then, things went a bit south again, and then, as you can see here now, pretty much sideways. So last week we were at again, same level almost as you have this particular time around, so nothing has really changed overall. But we still have our SAP coins in the wallet, and they are being staked, as you can see here. This particular week we just have one with 280 SAP in here. Obviously we would like to have a bit more. Previous time that we got a payment out was the 19th, so 3 days in between that. And you can see before that you have on the 11th, so again 8 days in between there. So it's pretty irregular, as I would say right now. Overall for January we are looking at 840 SAP in here, which is pretty okay. but for the individual week we managed 1.4% or the 280 SAP for just one particular payment. If we move on to the PNY, so this particular time we have 2 for the past week on the 21st and the 24th in here, and overall we have about 1,064 so far for the month of January, so that looks good. And if we have a look at just those 2 entries here, we made 1.6% or 266 PNY for this particular week, and that is pretty okay and roughly where we are expecting to be in 1 week. Having a look at Bitcoin versus USDT, we can see also here things have been moving during the week, but we are exactly the same spot as we were last week. So the red circle in here is where we left it last week. Very little between where we are now and then, but it has moved all the way down to 38,555. Since then it was trading sideways and then had another bump up here again, and at the moment it looks like it is slowly but surely on the rise. 41,755 with an all-time high for this particular week of 42,246. So pretty stable area most of the time. Obviously, again, there's a few thousand in between, but this is Bitcoin, highly volatile, of course. Another one which is not really volatile at the moment is the Trillant news, and last week we basically had the same news as previous weeks. You can see that this goes all the way back to end of December, where you had the important notice of the current legal review and measurements that is part of the Trillant platform. So things have been put a bit on hold, and what they are showing here is another post for the week is saying we are happy to provide you with regular updates on the progress of our compliance audits. Our team is working closely with the relevant authorities to clarify and resolve the allegations raised. Although this is not progressing as quickly as we would like, we are making steady progress. And then they also mention here that they will keep us informed of any updates in our newsletters. From now on, however, they will no longer send out weekly newsletters, but they will notify as soon as we have new information on the current status. And then they hope for our patience, and definitely I think our patience has already been stretched to the limits with Trillant. Now if we have a look just at the tree coin in here, so this is normally the one that varies a bit. This is not the stable coin, that never actually happened and we're still waiting for, but coinstore.com in here, we left the coin value last week at 0.0003239. Since then it was also trading sideways, and then we had a bit of a drop, and again it's now moving sideways once more, but at a lower level, so at 0.0002711. Definitely not something to cheer about for the week itself. And if we have a look at week 4 for the money tree, there's not much positive news either here. The low risk account actually ended up in -34, so the money tree had a bit of a drawdown on all of the accounts, and that can actually happen because it costs money still to borrow the money to trade it on when you are running the different type of leverages. And it can also happen that you have a quick moving trading platform here where all of a sudden the price changes. So when the money tree wants to close the trade off in slight profit, because their movement is so fast, you end up still with, unfortunately, a bit of a lower profit at the end of the day. It's not much, $34 or minus 0.4%. The medium one did make a bit of money, but only $11 and 0.2%. And then we have the high risk one, slightly higher at $17.50 or 0.3%. So again, nothing much to cheer about on the money tree for this particular week. It hasn't really shown a lot of strength so far in the past weeks. Having a look though at the overall improvement, we can see that we started off with the 5,000, and back then, as we mentioned, we kept this account going. We are up quite well again, even on the equity. We are also in good positive results. Obviously, we would like to continue at a higher rate, but let's see. So far, so good. We seem to have found exactly the right level of risk and profit in here. So that is at least the good news. Also, the high risk one, at the moment, the balance is over 5,000, but again, it's the equity that counts. And at the moment, we have a bit of a drawdown of about minus $753 over the weekend. And let's see if that's going to be recovered again. Most probably it's going to take another day or two until that is done. And you can always follow that on our website, of course. What you can also follow is the profit retriever for week 4. These are the top 5 EAs of the week. The profit is actually quite low compared to what we have recently in here, but let's quickly go over them. The FTSE 100 is actually on top again this week, $642 or 6.4%. And then we have the gold in here, $455 or 4.5%. Both of them were in the same position last week. Then a new one is the British Pounds USD number 2, came in at $219 or 2.2%. And then we have the silver in 4th position, which it also was last week, with $200 or 2.0%. And at the bottom of the top 5, we have Euro Japanese, $192 or 1.9%. Totally, if you would have traded those top 5 EAs, you would have made $1,707 or 3.4% for the week. And obviously that is still good, but we are used to a bit more. So this time around, we are a bit greedy and had hoped for higher things. Now, if we have a look at the entire portfolio of all our profit retriever robots, then we can see things are still looking extremely well. The history is 680 days and everything is still looking quite well. Look at that graph, how well that is going. And if we have a look at the individual months, you have a look at the net profit, we can see that for January, we are already up more than 14,000. And that is pretty much the same level as we had back in November. And we are missing just a bit for October and December. So very, very stable results since we have another about 3 or 4 trading days here left. So depending on where you are in the world. And obviously that could be enough to basically break the record. So for this particular last quarters, so both for the end of 2023 and now beginning of 2024. Now you can obviously find a lot more details and information as usual on our website. If you want to have a look at the portfolio itself, you simply click the link that you have in the middle of the screen here. And otherwise you can have a look at the individual signals that the portfolio is made up from. Just make sure also that if you are trading different types of metal indexes, things like this, we definitely encourage you to make sure that you fund your accounts so that you don't get any particular margin calls here or blown accounts. You can also find more details on our website. Again, if you want to trade this yourself, you simply click this particular link here and you will then find a lot of videos and information on how you can do this, how you can set it up, what we have done in the past. Or if you are not really interested in that and don't have the time for testing all these robots, you can go on the copy link trading. And there you have more details and information on how exactly that particular section works also. And you can lean back, pick your accounts that you want to trade, and then let somebody else trade for you. With Trade Explorer, that runs pretty much by itself at the moment. It is a set and forget robot. We have done some slight adjustments to it just to make sure that we are happy with how it develops. Again, Trade Explorer on the 22 pairs for the past week. It's a bit on the low side, even for this particular nice EA, $119 or 1.2%. And then we have the 10 pair one, which is doing extremely well. Don't forget, even last week, it made more than $1,200. So this week, you can say it's a bit disappointing, but again, $215 or 2.2%. When you look on a weekly basis, that is still very much approved. So let's have a look at the graph. The 22 pair has now also made double up the account. So total return 100.5%. Even the equity is above the 20,000. So the account was started with 10,000 and things are looking good. It took about 256 days to make that happen. And that is not too bad. So again, that is roughly about 9 months or so. And it has been doing extremely well all the way through. And if we have a look at our 10 pair one, it's doing even better. At the moment, it's at 24,700 on the balance. And it has a floating profit of about minus 200 at the moment. Still doing well. Look at that nice little graph in here, 145% in the same amount of days, 256. And you can see the currencies that are being traded in here has been doing extremely well. You can still find the links up here. So the 22 pair is 145. This one here is also very popular, 146E. So if you're interested in the copy link service and copying these signals, then that is the way to go. Now we also have the Wave Liberator, and the Wave Liberator has basically broken the records so far for all our testing. And for the top 5 EAs, we have the USD Swiss francs in here, $421 or 42.1%. Euro Swiss francs is $83 or 8.3%. US Japanese $59 or 5.9%. And then New Zealand USD $51 or 5.1%. Great British Pounds USD $48 or 4.8%. And then totally, if you would have had all these top 5 and trading those for week 4, you would have made $664 or 13.3%. Don't forget, these are set up as they are $1,000 accounts. But again, don't be greedy. Make sure that you, again, fund your accounts in a reasonable way. Now we are going to have a closer look again at the entire portfolio for this Wave Liberator. And you have seen this particular graph here before. Again, we are now running close to 140,000, so 139, 460 is the balance. Floating profit is minus 234, so not really that much. So close profit, 9,460. Very well done. You can see the history down here, 160 days so far. So a lot of history is in here. And then you can see some of the currency pairs, but there's 13 in total. So that's what we have previously mentioned. And you can also find all these details on the website, of course. Having a closer look at the portfolio, again, the history, 160 days, monthly returns. And this is only 1.7 and 0.4 in weekly profits. Again, this is set up for the Ftmo, as we previously mentioned. And that's also what we're going to have a closer look at today. Because obviously, not only do we have to focus on the profit, and for this particular week here, the profit is actually the highest we had since we started our portfolio. You can see 785 is for this particular week. The last time we had that was back in October with 710. So it has been an extremely good week also here, record breaking. And obviously that's what we want, but we also need to make sure that we are not blowing the accounts. How we're going to do that is we go to our FX Blue, basically floating profit and loss in here. You can see the outlines of it. So obviously where we started here, and then we had a few accounts in, then we added more. So obviously a bigger drawdown at the end of the day. And the recent one that we had has come in at about 4,000. So this is the biggest drawdown we had so far. And this was again due to basically one currency pair only. And if we have a look at it, you can see the 3% drawdown with our account of 130,000. So that is a very healthy way of trading, definitely, especially if you are into the Ftmo trading. You need to have these low drawdowns. It is possible, but it is best done with many, many different EAs and also a bigger account. It is a bit easier to follow all the drawdowns overall, and also switching some of the EAs off if need be. Now, if you would have had this on a Ftmo account and you normally don't have 130,000, you would have 100,001. So the same drawdowns that we have shown and proven in here over the 160 days would be equivalent to 4% in drawdown, and that is definitely still within the Ftmo rules and regulations. So definitely this is the one that you could actually use, or you could use just individual ones of our signals here. So what does that mean again? Well, the profit that we did for, let's say, December, because this is the full month, January we still have a bit to go. You can see it's just below 2,000. But in December we made $2,308 on this particular account in here. That would be equivalent to 2.3% on a $100,000 account for what we have. And then if you have an Ftmo account payment, you would normally get somewhere around 70%. And what that would mean is a paycheck for that particular month, only 1 month of 1,615. Now, this is not something, of course, that you're going to be rich of tomorrow, but you can set up multiple proprietary trading accounts, but it will also give you a steady income or something extra for vacation for the kids or family, wives, spouses, whatever you have. It is definitely a good way of starting something, and at the same time it's not really your money, so you can simply just let that run. And again, you copy over all our links that we have, and you have that on our particular website. You can go in and do all 13 if you want, or you can have a closer look to see which ones are the best and only handpick those particular ones to make sure that you get the right risk strategy at the end of the day. Because we have also made this particular video here, and we are showing again the Wave Liberator. It has 100% success rate. We haven't crashed anything, we haven't burned anything down to the ground, and the proof is in the pudding, as they say. Portfolio that we have in here, the 13 links that you also saw before, all of them have now the copy link service links that you can go and find. You can look at the balance. The important part is obviously equity. Equity starts off with 10,000, and all of them, as you can see, is over. We have some at 11, and if you traded those ones again on a $1,000 account, it would have been more than 100% back as it is already. Same with this one here, 152, 153, same one again. We have a few 800, so almost doubled if you traded that on the smaller accounts. We have another one up here, and overall all of them are in the very, very positive range. And look at the floating profit and loss at the moment, down $2, 96, $102. This one is in plus with $3, minus $12, minus 24. So definitely this is very, very stable results overall for all these Wave Liberator accounts, which we are handling individually and then putting them together in a portfolio. We have done something similar for the Expert Forex Hedged EA, and for the past couple of weeks we have shown more and more of this, and at the moment we have 7 groups, and if we go at group 1, this was the first one we also shared, you can see that none of the currency pairs is repeating itself. That is trying to cover ourselves in case we have too many US dollars. Then maybe some of the EA accounts will be running away in the wrong direction. So that's why this is split up into 7 different groups. And this time around, we're going to have a closer look at the last 2 groups. So groups 6 and 7, Euro AUD, Great British Pounds CAD, New Zealand Swiss francs, US Japanese, and also the Euro CAD, Great British Pounds AUD, and New Zealand Japanese, and US Swiss francs. And the graph looks like this, so a very nice graph. Looks like it's profiting quite well. Balance is positive, almost at 13,000, but the equity is actually below where we started. We have a big minus at the moment of 4,000. Don't forget, this is basically 4 currency pairs that we are trading at the same time, similar to what I showed you here. And the total return is currently minus 11%, but monthly return is calculated at 31%. Again, we don't really like this particular setup because we have multiple pairs in here, and that also means that they can't necessarily be optimized individually, so we have to do some kind of average, and as you'll see on the floating profit, it's not really optimum at the moment. History 27 days, so obviously it's still early days, but the drawdowns is quite high and a bit out of what we normally want. Second account is again with the EuroCap to start off with. Also this one has a positive balance, a nice graph, but also an equity that is well below where we started off with the 10,000. Floating profit minus 5,600, and also here minus returns, obviously down. Monthly returns is calculated at FX Blue at about 21%, which is obviously great, but again these are quite aggressive because you are doing 4 different currency pairs on the $10,000 account, and again they're not really optimized for this particular part, so we're not really happy with the setups. We are now going forward and testing them individually instead to see exactly how the results is going to pan out for us. Now Alex also have a couple of videos for this particular week, and he compares the 20 trading robot results and some of the testing in here. So you have to be a member, of course, to have a look at some of these. So these are details with links And also you can download some of the settings for the robots themselves if you can figure out how to develop them yourself. But just be careful. Once again here, it's not necessary that they work well with your broker, so you can use them, but you again have to tweak them to your particular type of trading. We have another one from Alex also here with a total free trading robots. Also has shown, we'll have to tell you again, this is only back testing, $80,000 in 10 weeks. And that comes together with a bit of information regarding also the training competition that is currently running with Expert Forex. We haven't joined this one because we have many other projects in the background that we rather want to deal with right now, but we will try and keep a close look, an eye out for this particular one. We are interested in good stable profits, not necessarily how much we can squeeze it out, but we do understand that there are certain things, certain competitions, which is nice because you will know new things about the robot that you might not have known before. But we prefer the profit to be slow and steady every single month without crashing any accounts. And that's what we had for you in this week's news report. Once again, I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you got something out of it, which one of the EAs and the different projects that we have works for you. And then hopefully I will see you next week again on the next news report. So until then, bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed our news report. So please don't forget to like and add your comment below, as we would love to get your feedback. But before you go, make sure you subscribe to the channel and don't forget to keep the notification bell turned on. That way, you will never miss any of our future videos. We hope to see you back on this channel very soon.